Hi, Jackie Van Ruler, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about endometriosis. So endometriosis is a condition where the cells or the endothelium inside of your uterus comes out of the uterus and actually spreads and grows tissue in other areas of your reproductive system, bladder, and sometimes even your gut. And this can cause a lot of pain and issues with fatigue, can cause excess bleeding, cramping, all kinds of things like that. And even if you have that excess bleeding, you can lose a lot of blood, and then you can get very pale, and then that can progress to fatigue. And then, of course, it affects your reproductive system, hormones, and all of that stuff. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about identifying with the disease, and I don't really like saying I have a disease or I have endometriosis, I have cancer, or I have things like that, because then part of your identity becomes about that disease. What you really want to talk about is how your body is sending you messages. So anytime that you have something going on within your body that doesn't feel good, doesn't feel comfortable, it doesn't makes you feel stressed or irritable or whatever it does, those things are all just messages from your body telling you that you're under stress in some way. It's your body trying to tell you something. In the case of endometriosis, this is something that happens a lot to people who have a lot of earth element in them. And earth elements are givers, they're caretakers, and they tend to be people that give all of their energy to other people, and then they forget to take care of themselves. And so endometriosis is literally they're literally just like flushing their cells from the uterus and giving it to other parts of their body. And so emotionally, it's really about overgiving. And so if you have endometriosis, notice what areas of your life you're overgiving, exerting yourself for something that's not something that you really want in your life. Now, earth elements tend to sometimes they give so much to other people, they don't even really know what's important to them or what lights them up or what brings them joy in their life. And so they have to actually spend time figuring that out. They might have to go inward a little bit more and really ask themselves, what lights me up? What brings me joy? What brings me pleasure? What am I here for? And so that can be a really important aspect of recovering from something like this. But I'm going to show you some points on your face that you can work to send energy, healing energy to those areas of your reproductive system and hormonal balancing areas that are going to help you to feel better. And then it's going to be a great self-care activity that you can do on a daily basis. If you are suffering with endometriosis, this is something you're going to want to do very frequently, like daily, and really spend some good quality time. Go nice and slowly with yourself. Make sure you're blocking this time out of your day so that you can really treat yourself, because really the other options are that you're turning to hormones, or you're taking pain pills, or you're missing out on some of the important things in your life because you just don't feel good. And I don't want that to happen for you. I want you to feel good. I want you to feel vibrant and healthy and enjoy all the wonderful things that you're here to do, and to live a life that's more purposeful and meaningful. So we're going to start with points 300. You're going to grab your magic wand, put your fingers on the corners of your mouth, go all the way up to your forehead, and then come down just a little bit. Point 300 has to do with the kidneys, and the kidneys are really important for your energy. So in this point, we're going to really work on energy. The kidneys also produce bone marrow, which produces blood. And if you have endometriosis, you probably deal with a lot of bleeding with your monthly cycles. So just working these areas nice and gently. So slowly, if you're not sure where the kidney point is, you can just work a bigger area and then feel where you feel resistance. Like in here, I'm feeling resistance right here. And I can either just hold that if I want to, or I can keep doing some circles, whatever feels good. For me, it feels better on this particular spot to do circles. Next, we're going to hit some points specifically for reducing the sensation of pain, and they're going to be halfway up between your brow and your forehead, and then about 2/3 of the way over on your brow, and then the other point is going to be right here. So these points, you can do circles right around the point. I have a little mark on mine. On this side, this happens to also be a gallbladder point, and that is one of the organs that tends to be out of balance for me. You can also do a little bit of back and forth motion here. And a little bit of back and forth motion on this side, or circles, whichever feels better. Incidentally, this point on the left-hand side has to do with the spleen, and the spleen is the organ that's about lifting yourself up, making yourself important. Now, a lot of times people don't participate in self-care, or they don't do things that are really important to them because it feels selfish. Well, if you're not being selfish and you're not taking care of yourself first, it's going to be really hard to take care of other people. And with earth elements, that's really important for them, is to help to take care of other people, to care about other people. But you really do have to put yourself first, especially when it comes to your health, making sure that you're taking the time to take care of yourself, to work out, to eat healthy meals, to do whatever it is that you need to do in order to feel better. And then just telling people no. Oftentimes when we get this pain or the stuff that's going on with endometriosis, it's because your body's saying no for you. You might be somebody who's always willing to help, always willing to do things for other people. You might be the hardest worker at your job. And so you really want to be able to say no and say, okay, this isn't going to serve me right now. As much as I want to help, I need to take a break, or I need to take a time to take care of myself. Okay. Next, we're going to work all around the eyes. And the eyes have to do with the ovaries. Particularly in this one, the ovaries are about producing hormones, and it's also about working around the eyes is about your vision. So what is your vision of who you are, and who do you want to be? What do you desire in life? What is your purpose? What is your vision? What is your reason for being here? So working all the way around the eyes. I particularly like working this spot right underneath of the eyes here. This is actually an allergy spot, but it's really good for just helping to calm down any negative thoughts you might have about yourself. Oftentimes we tend to turn off any of these negative thoughts that we have about ourselves, and they just kind of fester inside of us. So at this point, we can actually help to release those, help to feel more compassion towards ourselves, love and compassion, giving ourselves the time and energy that we would give to other people. This point right underneath of the eye here is for the ovaries. Working all the way up. As you're coming up here around the eyes, make sure you work this area right underneath the brows. This is a really good spot for helping to work out bloating. So if you tend to get bloated, working this area underneath the eye is really, really helpful. Now I'm going to go around the eyes twice, just because I'm feeling some lumps and bumps in my eyes, especially right in this area. And so I'm just going to do it one more time. And you can always do something twice. You might even do it a third time if you want to. Working underneath of here. And I have like a little bump there, so that just means that I have, for some reason, I have some energy resistance in this area. So this is going to be a good area for me to work some extra until that darkness kind of disappears. Working right under here. This spot in here is a really good spot for working to improve circulation. So one thing we really want to improve within our reproductive system is good circulation, helping your body to send good blood flow and energy to the reproductive organs, and then also helping to clear out things that aren't needed there through the lymphatic system. Coming up and working underneath the eyes. If you get a lot of bloating, this area might be super, super tender. And if it is, you'll spend a little extra time there. You don't want it to hurt, so if it feels like it hurts, just lighten up on your pressure. And again, I'm feeling stuff like right in this area. The brows also have to do with the fallopian tubes, and the fallopian tubes are one of the areas that excess tissue can accumulate. And if you're working on fertility, you really want to work around the fallopian tubes because the eggs needs to descend down the fallopian tubes in order to be fertilized and to have a baby. All right, working the other side, working underneath the eyes. You can always use your fingers to support. Taking a deep breath as you're doing this, making sure you're nice and relaxed. You don't want to do this at a time when you're really stressed. So make sure that you plan that time. It really doesn't take long, 10 or 15 minutes. It doesn't take long to do it, and you will notice incredible results. Results that are going to be much better than medication, particularly if you're taking pain medication or even hormones for this. Those things will all have long-term effects, and pain medication tends to actually make your body less or more sensitive to pain. And so over time, it kind of does the opposite of what it's supposed to do. It'll clear things up in the short term, but you'll find yourself having to take more and more to get the same results. And the other thing to know is that a lot of pain medications are metabolized by your liver, and your liver is what sends energy to your reproductive system. And so you're actually going to be messing up hormonal production because that happens within the liver and causing more pain and tenderness over time. All right, so speaking of the liver, we'll go to the right side of the face and work the liver. So in line with the bottom of the nose, directly underneath the iris of the eye, this area right in here. And you're working this in kind of an upward motion. So really sending energy, blood flow, oxygen to the liver so that the liver can do its job of making and balancing hormones for you. It does that through cholesterol. And then moving to the other side, we're going to get this point for the spleen. So in line with the flare of the nose, directly underneath the iris of the eye, right in here we have the spot for the spleen. The spleen is about lifting yourself up. It's about self-care. It's about worthiness, self-love, compassion for yourself. And you may find that the spleen gets a little stiff and stuck when you haven't been doing that. Spleen is also responsible for making red blood cells, so making and recycling red blood cells. So if you are bleeding a lot, the spleen is going to be a really good place to work to really help to rejuvenate your blood. Emotionally, your blood is about the emotion of joy. And next we're going to work the nose, which has to do with the uterus. Working the whole nose, feeling for lumps and bumps in here. You'll probably feel a few. So take your time. I feel one like right here, so I'm just going to work that for a few seconds. And this does happen to be a spot for the diaphragm. And I feel a little sensation right in here that feels a little uncomfortable, but I'm going to work it out a little bit. And then as you come down the middle of the nose, right in here we get a spot for the blood. This spot in here enhances and nourishes and purifies the blood. So very important with endometriosis. And then working the other sides of the nose as well for the kidneys. Kidneys are about producing stem cells, bone marrow, energy, all the good things that we don't really think about too much, but very important for our overall health and well-being. Also provides some very nice anti-aging properties. Then the next spot we're going to work is this whole area underneath of the mouth. So this whole upper lip. So this whole upper lip has to do with many things. First of all, it has to do with like your lower reproductive tract, so your cervix and vagina. And if you think about the uterus allowing cells to come out and then transport, this is where the cells will come out in this area and in this area. And I often find people who have endometriosis who have a lot of lumps or bumps or things right on this upper chin. So not quite there on the intestine point, but a little bit lower, like right in here, people will have lumps or bumps or moles or things like that. So this whole upper lip also has to do with decreasing inflammation, strengthening and enhancing the whole reproductive system. And it has to do with the pancreas. And the pancreas is about doing things that you love, about finding joy in the little things. So part of endometriosis is this lack of self-care. It's about giving and giving and giving to other people. So think about where do you find joy and pleasure in your life? Is it reading a book? Is it taking a walk? Is it talking to a friend? Is it going out to dinner with somebody? So plan more of those things in your life and make that a priority, even if it seems like you shouldn't. So working right in the center here. And coming out to either side, it doesn't matter if you go to the left or to the right. Taking some good time to work this area. I bet you'll find some really good lumps and bumps in this area. And while you're working on this, think about what are the things that really bring you joy? What are the things that make you happy in life? And think about how you can plan more of those into your day, into your week, into your month. A lot of times with earth elements, it is about connecting with people. But how can you connect with people without overgiving? How can you make that connection without having to give up anything so that you're getting just as nourished as the people that you're spending time with? I'm really working this whole area, feeling for those lumps and bumps. And then coming into here and getting just underneath that crease of the chin and coming down a little bit lower, getting the bladder. One thing that can happen with endometriosis is some pain on urination, and working this bladder point will be really helpful with decreasing that. Again, this is a formula that you are going to want to do regularly. Like I would literally plan at least 10 or 15 minutes a day to do this if you're currently suffering from endometriosis. I know that you will see a huge difference with a regular practice, but if you do it once and you say, oh, that didn't work, I didn't even notice a difference, or I did it and I felt actually worse. That can happen sometimes. If you do it for the first time, keep doing it. It will work, especially if you're putting it together with some good self-care, really finding things that you enjoy in life and making time for that. As always, we're just going to end up at the going around the ears. If you know anybody who has endometriosis or is having some of the symptoms of it, please pass this video along. This is such a nice way to treat something that can be a very debilitating condition. And this is something that will work if you do it on a regular basis. So make that time, make it a priority. And just know that as you're doing this self-care, you're not just helping with the condition that you have, you're also helping with your mental and emotional health as well. And if you haven't already, be sure you like this video, be sure you subscribe to my channel so that you receive all of my new videos. And be sure that you sign up for my email list if you haven't already. You can head to my website, JackieVanWiller.com. I send out a video once a week, along with, let me see if I can get the thing out, along with a face map so that you can print that out and you can see that and do it on your own so you don't have to follow this video. This video is now 18 minutes long, and I know that that is a long time to watch a video and you don't want to do that every day. So print out that face map. You can do this whole thing in about 10 minutes, sometimes even less, but make time for that. Make time for yourself to do that. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.